get you, Barbara.
Here's Johnny.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scared Speechless, the podcast where two guys who don't need friends, we need fans, try and find the words to describe our favorite and least favorite horror films. I am your host, Jake, along with my co-host, Aaron.
We really do, though. We do. We need fans.
I thought that one was
friends.
both funny because it's a quote from the movie and then also is applicable to the podcast.
Well, yes. Yes. What movie are we talking about today?
We are talking about my favorite sequel in the Scream franchise, Scriphorum.
Yeah, Scriphorum.
Because they decided to replace the A with a 4, because why not?
I feel like that was way too loud.
No, it's okay. The audio spiking every time you do the scream at the beginning is my favorite part of the editing process. I love the way it peaks the audio. No, joking. Well, yeah, we are talking about Scream 4. As I said, it is my favorite sequel in the Scream franchise. There's 6 of them, with a 7th one on the way after some complications. They're still making it, I guess. But that being said, yeah, Scream 4. Aaron can give you guys the backdrop, and then, I don't know, I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about it. I'm excited to dig into your thought process and your mental state when trying to figure out who the killer or killers are and all that good stuff. But yeah, so let people know a little bit about the movie.
Scriphorum. It came out in 2011. It is rated R. It is an hour and 51 minutes long. Speaking of, Jake, which one's the longest one? Do you know off the top of your head?
I want to say 2. I think 2 is the only one that eclipses like the 2-hour runtime, but I could be wrong on that one. I don't think 5 and 6 are past 2 hours, and if so, they don't feel like it. 2 feels the longest. That's all I know.
I think that's probably true. So that's gonna be a 6.2 out of 10 IMDb rating. It's directed by Wes Craven. It's written by Kevin Williamson. Stars Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, friggin' so many other people that we'll get to talk about later.
Oh yeah, this is a star-studded cast right here.
Isn't it ever, man? I always get excited when I see all the different like cameos and stuff like that. I was telling you before, like I get like a little high every time I'm like, haha, I know that person.
You're like,
I feel like
who's gonna be in this one?
I feel somewhat educated.
Yeah.
Like I have like film bro cred.
The Scream is a good film. I guess it's a good film bro franchise.
I should say.
Yeah.
It's your favorite one.
It is my favorite one. I don't know what that says about me.
So the little like synopsis that they have here is for this movie, 10 years have passed and Sidney Prescott, who has put herself back together thanks in part to her writing, is visited by the Ghostface killer. That's super reductive, but yeah.
I will apologize, folks, because we're not going to start over because that's not how we do things here. For the first 4 minutes of this recording, I forgot to connect my AirPods. So if you hear the echo, it was my fault. But
that's what I was thinking I was hearing.
It's okay. We're moving past it. We kind of just roll with things here. That's the Scared Speechless motto, you know? If it is broke, we still don't fix it. Anyway, yeah. Scriphorum, like I believe you mentioned 2011. We were talking about it a little bit before we started recording the podcast. The first 3 movies, they bang out in 4 years, you know, Scream 1, 96, Scream 2, 97, and Scream 3, 2000. So they kind of bang those movies out, bap, 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 and then take a long hiatus, which I don't think was ever intended to be a hiatus. I really do think that it was just supposed to be a trilogy. And then, you know, around 2009, 2010 is when we started to kind of see a lot of dipping into old franchises, and I'm glad that they went with just a sequel and not a reboot, because I just don't think you can remake Scream. I don't think that would work particularly
No,
well.
definitely not, dude.
So I'm glad they went with Scream 4. They brought back Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and I'd like to add, as we mentioned in our Scream 3 discussion, finally we start a Scream movie with Dewey and Gale together, because they seem like they're a thing at the end of the first one, and then at the beginning of the second, they fucking hate each other. And then at the end of the
Hooray.
second one, you think they're together, and then at the beginning of the third, you think they fucking hate each other. So finally, they've been married for
They worked it
11
out.
years. Yeah, they worked it out. Been married for 11 years. They actually live in Woodsboro. Gail now trying to write fiction instead of writing true crime, I guess you would categorize her. But
Her journalism.
yeah, before, I mean, we described the plot and everything, but I would just, and if you haven't been following along with our Scream series, first off, go listen to those episodes because they're a lot of fun. We bring in our good friend Josh into Scream 3, so that's a good little group discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Good time,
It
good
was so much
time.
fun.
Yeah, good time all around. Had a great time. But I'd love to, and if you haven't been following, what I was saying is basically Aaron knew the killers in Scream 1. Just a very popular reveal. Didn't know him in 2 and 3. Didn't know him in the following ones. First time he's getting into the franchise, which is very exciting. And in 2 and 3, we kind of, he was taking notes and breaking down his thought process on who he thought the killers were. And for me, as much as I love the kills and some of the comedy and the tense moments and scary stuff, figuring out who the killers are and the killer reveal is always like my favorite part of these movies. So if you don't mind, I'd love to hear your thought process on who the killers. Oh, I guess I just sort of spoil it there. Spoilers, guys.
Yeah.
There are 2 killers in the movie, but anyway, what did
There
you
are.
think throughout the movie?
I mean, is it really that much of a spoiler to say that there are 2 killers? It's if we followed this,
It's almost a spoiler
franchise
to
enough.
tell people that there's like 1 killer.
Right, exactly.
Because that, yeah,
So
fucking Roman.
yeah, because when it was fucking weird. Anyways, so I'll have to tell you something, Jake. I honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I think you really hyped up the guessing. I really stuck with pretty much just one thing.
Okay.
Let me see where it is in my fucking notes. I didn't see. Oh, and this was talking about before. Oh no, it wasn't. Never mind. Fuck. I should have this a little more fucking organized.
My notes are always sporadic too. That's why I sometimes just
dude.
don't look at my notes, and then after we record an episode, I'm like, fuck, forgot to talk about this.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me see. So I was like already like halfway through, and I was like thinking about like people like little bits left and right, but nothing was ever substantial enough. I said Trevor is Billy level creepy, but I don't think he's a killer either. Oh, when Alison Brie, shout out to Alison Brie. She's
Shout
awesome.
out to Alison Brie.
She was on the phone with somebody, with I don't know, someone who she like worked with or whatever, and that or was with, and she was like, "Oh my god, like I'm so glad like I did this, like best idea ever, all this stuff." But like it seemed like she was talking like about herself, like about having the opportunity to like make more money or whatever. But then it was like, what if there was like extra context to that, like if or
Okay.
like a alternate context to the conversation, like instead you think, oh, this is something that she had planned and it was like working out. So that's what I was thinking.
Because it kind of works like if you're ever someone who suspects Gale in the first one, you almost, you almost feel like Allison Brie in this movie is sort of like our new version of Gale at first. She's
Right.
like very cutthroat and she's very like, oh, like I'll do anything to be successful kind of vibe.
Right. Right.
So, no, okay. I like that mindset. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
But I said best idea ever. That was like the last thing she ended on. Um, I said that part makes me think that the context of the conversation may not be what we're thinking, reserving my first official guess. So, not her.
Okay.
Um, and then that's when later I was like thinking about or talking about Trevor, how he's so fucking creepy, but I didn't think he was a killer either. First official guess. Oh, and then like I saw fucking what's her name get like murdered. Um,
Oh, Allison
Alison
Brie.
Brie. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like glad. I said I was like glad I saved my official guess. And then so okay, first official guess question mark. We've met the killers at this point. I think it's Kirby and the lady cop working together. I feel like I should suspect the lady cop since her screen time is less than it was at the beginning of the movie.
Funny
So,
you mentioned the lady cop because if you remember when we were talking about Scream 3, I said that there was a
uh,
character in Scream 4 that is very similar to Angelina in Scream 3, but I like a lot more. It is in fact the female
mm.
cop because I do think she works
Oh,
as a really
Judy, yeah.
good over the top red herring because that scene when she talks to
Right.
Sydney is so creepy.
It is so fucking creepy, but it's like I
Yeah.
really don't think it's her. But like in that moment I didn't think it was her.
Mm-hmm.
But like but generally she had that vibe already out there, so it was like it's so easy to like pick up. But so that was actually my first official guess was it was Kirby and the Lady Cop,
Interesting.
and I think that was pretty much that was pretty much my like guess for it.
You locked
Okay,
in
so
again.
hang on, because there was another part. I mean, like she for one thing is like really hanging around these like kind of they're a little creepy. The those like tech dudes, um, and they're also
uh
like about horror
the
movies and stuff.
the film bros,
The
Rory
film bros,
Culkin,
yeah.
Charlie and Robbie.
I was totally a Culkin man. I was like, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
that is a
yeah.
Culkin brother. So yeah. I
Probably the creepiest looking Culkin.
hey man, teach their own.
He's
Um
he's a strange looking guy.
hey man.
And not in like an ugly way. He's just like you said, you
Yeah.
like the Culkins
Don't
have
be
such distinct looks.
They do have it. Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's just
you're
because
right. They do have like distinct
Kieran's
looks.
such a cutie, you know. Kieran's a cute guy.
Isn't he ever?
Oh,
Um
I love him.
anyways, so
Yeah.
fucking no, there was like reasons I thought cuz like I thought she was like weirdly close with them for also being Hayden Panettiere, and like she she was like she had like this like attitude that kind of didn't care about the killing and stuff like that. um it was yeah, it was stuff like that, and then at some point at the end, closer to the end, that's when she was like like going to make a move on the one guy, and I was like wondering, ooh, is she, because she's like so into the like stuff and like she knows like the rules and whatever, is she doing um the can't kill you if you're not a virgin bit? And that's what I kind of thought was going on there. Um and then I saw that I said, fuck, I still think Kirby is a killer, but the cop was next to Dewey. At that point, it was like the killer was in the house, like Ghostface was in the house, and I was like thinking maybe three, but then I was like, no, I don't really think so. Um, and because I could not think of anybody who would fit for like a third thing, but so what was I saying? So they were like running away, and so you saw Kirby like there and a killer also there, and then the camera went like the scene cut to like Dewey and Judy talking to each other, and I'm like, fuck. So Judy's there, so she can't be the killer. Um, so then I was like really sure that she wasn't a part of it, and I was still like really sure about Kirby. Um, I said it's really just Kirby and someone else. I just don't know who. She's making the movie. That's why she's playing along with the calls at the scene where she goes downstairs. She's like going along with like the phone calls and stuff like that. But we saw that like there were cameras planted and stuff like that. But I was thinking maybe she had brought it down because then like the kill was set up like at her house, or the what we presume would be a kill is set up at her house, and it's like, um, and it's Charlie, yeah, that's his name, Charlie, sitting in the seat with the like it was a reference to like the first movie, um, and so I'm like, oh, she's recreating it. She's Drew Barrymore, quote unquote. Um, so she would be like, yeah. So that's what I figured, that's what she was doing. She was like playing the part, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I guess she's a really good actress then,
Just going along with
both
it.
in real life and in that movie. Just
Yeah.
yeah, just really going along with it.
And
So
she would have been a good killer because she was just like really popping off at the time.
mhm.
She was in Heroes, and I think she was also maybe
She was in I Love You, Beth Cooper.
I Love You, Beth Cooper,
Remember that movie?
and maybe
Weird movie.
the Bring It On movies probably were before Scream 4 as well. So she was
Yeah.
like really big at that time. So that would have been
Yeah.
a crazy reveal for her to be the killer.
Yeah, so I said she's making the movie. That's why she's playing along with the calls. She set up the whole scene from the first movie, and she's recording herself on purpose. Could be why she kept the camera guys around. And then Charlie reveals himself, and then I said, okay, this is awkward.
Great
And
scene.
then I remember earlier on in the movie, I was like thinking like this guy, I kind of had a feeling about him, like the tiniest thing, and I didn't write it down because I
Yeah.
said literally the gut feeling that I didn't have the balls to write down again. That was what happened in the last one, because I remember like I remember just having those tiny inklings, and then I'm like, eh. But oh, damn it, I need to like write this shit down.
You got
But yeah,
locked
so
in. You got locked
yeah,
in.
no, it was like earlier on he had been like weird and whatever, but he was also like he also didn't seem like disingenuous when he was like such an awkward person.
Mm-hmm.
But then I guess that aligns with his sort of motive, which is to like what was his motive actually? Wasn't it really because he was just like
I guess he
wanted to
just
be with a girl or something like that?
I guess his motive is just I guess it's more of like a stew motive where it's just like he's just
Coming
kind of
along for the ride.
insane and
Huh.
loves movies, loves and wants to make a real life horror movie. And it's just that fucked up.
Oh no, because he's also yeah. Well, yeah, that and he was like in a thing with Jill,
Well, that
Emma
was
Roberts.
just manipulation.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Well, either way, I was
I
like,
mean, I think by the end of it, it's clear that she was just using his ass.
yeah.
Oh my
I mean,
god,
yeah,
she stabs
pretty
him
much.
right in the heart, like literally, like not metaphorically. She stabs him right in the heart.
And then yeah. Oh, say so. Well, let's say again that that
Yeah.
Jill, Emma Roberts, Sydney's cousin, ended
Her
up
name in the movie
being
is Jill Roberts. She still has the same last
Jill
name.
Rob, yeah. And she's revealed to be the second killer.
Indeed,
Um,
indeed.
and I just like said, ha 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 ha. Couldn't be more fucking wrong. Like I was so off base. And I
Yeah.
hate that, like, because, like, I mean, I guess it's hard to say, like, you don't, like, like, oh, I, like, already sort of guessed this person. Because, like, they want you to guess everybody at
Hmm.
least a little bit.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I did have like a little thing of could it be Emma Roberts, but also why would it be Emma Roberts? And like, of course, the um the reveal, like I like you kind of like figure out why. Um, I guess that's the real like guessing game is what is going to be the motive because that like but
Hmm.
it can also be anything.
It could
So
be
it
stew and it
could
could be
be
nothing. Like there
it could
could
be
be no motive.
Stu.
Yeah.
It could be a long lost brother. It could like it could straight
Jesus.
up be. That's what I mean. Like it could be
Yeah.
anything.
There's
So it's
there's
like,
no it's no holds barred. Anything that can
yeah,
happen will
man.
happen. Murphy's law.
Yeah. I said I had the tiniest inkling that it would be Emma Roberts. Nothing concrete at all, though. Got to reflect on why this is actually an insane reveal. One thing is that it played so hard on the remake subgenre, I guess, by
Hmm.
making us think, oh, great, new generation of people to follow. Fucking no, they just tricked us so hard.
Yeah.
They got me. They got me bad.
I
Um,
absolutely love her reveal. Like
yeah,
I think both of them, and it's part of why I love this movie so much. I think both of their reveals are so fucking good. Like
I have to agree. I really liked how Charlie like just fucking got up. I'm like,
also,
you
could we
scary
talk about
motherfucker.
I don't know if you noticed, but the scene when Charlie stabs Kirby, he has like the biggest knife I have ever seen in his
Yeah,
hand.
dude, it's like so visible, like in the
It's
dark. Like I
comically
was like,
big, yeah.
holy shit, you killed the fuck out of her.
It's
I
such a
was like,
great
wow, that's so embarrassing.
well, it's such a
That
great
moment.
scene too because building up to it too, basically Sydney and Kirby are inside the house and Charlie's like banging on the door and he's got blood on his hands, like, let me in, let me in, let me in. Kirby's
Yeah,
like, oh, I don't know what to do. And Sid, being Sid, having lived through this like three fucking times already, says, if you
she's
can't
like,
trust him,
catch
do
these
not let him
hands.
in. And she's like, sorry, get away from the door. Lights turn off. He's, next time the lights turn on, he's strapped to the chair. Sydney leaves for some reason. The killer is on the phone with Kirby and playing the game with her.
Mhm.
And right after this, I need to talk about the ghost face calls in this because they're incredible. But um
Ooh,
he's on the phone
I
with
want to hear why you think that.
oh dude, yeah, I'll tell you why and then you'll think
Yeah.
about it and you will agree cuz it's insane the shit that he says in this movie. But no, he's on the phone with Kirby and
Mhm.
doing the whole what's your asking her horror movie questions and then it gets to the same point that they have with Drew Barrymore where he asks her a very specific question and instead of answering she
Mhm.
lists off like 35 fucking horror movies just back to back to back just like going
Yeah,
bang 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 and just showing off all this like
like
horror
a
movie
prom
knowledge
night.
and shit and she's like I got it right because Ghostface goes quiet she runs outside unties Charlie. She's all excited. She's like, I
Mhm.
got him. I answered it right. I got him. And then she finally unties Charlie. And you're right, he just like
Yeah,
stands up and he's like,
yeah.
hey Kirby, this is making a move. And just
This
takes,
is
like I said, the biggest knife I have seen in these movies and just fucking stabs her. And it is such a oh my god, it's such a great
it was
reveal.
so fucking good. I was like, I was fucking stunned because like I said, I was
Yeah.
really dead set on Kirby being the actual killer, and
And
like
then
I
the
was
killer
fucking
just gets
locked in, and then he just
gutted.
goes, and I'm like, that is so embarrassing. It
It's
sucked, but like the
it's
reveal
good.
itself was honestly really good.
Well, and then
Like
it's like a
just the fact that I was thrown so off, like
yeah.
not even in the fucking ballpark. Like
So I
I
will
really
say,
appreciated it.
when I first watched this movie, I will say this is another one where I was guessing Charlie for most of the movie, and I was like, okay, it's got to be one of the film bros. It's got to be Charlie or
Yeah.
Robbie. And I was like, thinking in my
I didn't
head,
think it
I
would be
was
Robbie.
thinking, I was going back to Scream 1, and I was like, which one of these two would be scarier if they were the killer without the mask? And I was like, Rory Culkin just has such a distinct, interesting look to him. I'm thinking him. So when he stabbed her, yes, it still catches you off guard because it is such a gut punch moment, because Kirby is like a fan favorite character. People love Kirby. I love Kirby. I think
love
she's
Kirby.
such a great character. She's like Randy
awesome.
she's like Randy if Randy had social skills. Like
Right. That's so true.
like if Randy wasn't yelling about prom night in the middle of
Yeah.
a video store and like basically FaceTiming Dewey from beyond the grave through a video in
Yeah.
Scream 3. You know, regardless, Kirby's a great character, so when she does get stabbed, it's such an immediate like, oh shit kind of moment.
Yeah.
And Charlie's great, but then followed up by, now, did you watch Unfabulous growing up?
I did.
Okay,
I
so that
let me just say.
yeah.
Okay, go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that for me is why her reveal is amazing. If anyone ever asked why I think Jill is such a great killer and such a great reveal, it is because I grew up watching Emma Roberts on Unfabulous as the dorky girl who played acoustic guitar, liked Jake Bahari, and had braces. She was a dork. And in this movie, they play her up as just like a normal, everyday, common suburban girl like Sydney in the first movie. And so when Sydney gets stabbed, like just flat out gets stabbed in the gut, and then you get the mask reveal, and she hits you with the surprise, Sydney. It's so good, and I love it every time it happens. I love it.
I have to say, before watching this movie, I definitely did not like Emma Roberts. I have like a hard
No.
time with her, like
I like Emma Roberts.
with the characters that she plays, and like her voice would like annoy me a lot. I definitely opened myself up to this experience though, and I was not fucking let down, because this is what made me like
Yeah.
honestly appreciate Emma Roberts a lot more.
Absolutely.
Because
She's great.
I really liked her reveal. Like it was super good. I really liked the monologue she kind of had, like all the like
Yeah.
times like she had her monologues, they were just real, like about her like motive and all that. Like it was just done really really well. I also really loved her planning evidence
Dude.
scene was
Yes.
so fucking good, where she just had like the knife like to her shoulder, and just fucking ran into a wall, like hit it hard, and it was like fuck, like like oh my god, it was
It's
gnarly.
so brutal, and it's not only brutal because like she fucks herself up. So, like you said, she runs
slams her head into like a wind or
like a
painting
glass
frame, like a glass
picture.
frame,
Yeah, glass
picture
frame.
yeah, and just like
Throws
and it's
herself
just, like,
through
cut
the
everywhere.
glass table too.
Yeah, she literally like does like an alley oop and like hits a glass table so hard she shatters it. She's just like on the ground. She fucking crawls over to like Sydney and then just like lays down in like such a dramatic way. But it's like, because I know the character's motive, it's like
yeah,
it becomes less corny and more like, oh, this bitch is crazy. Like,
she's so psychotic, and she stages it so well to the point where it's not only does she injure herself in like very believable ways, like it really looks like she survived. Like she thinks this out so much better than Billy and Stu did. Like her initial plan is so much smarter than theirs was. She manipulates Charlie into killing all of these people, and then at the end, basically like he thinks that they're just going to be like Bonnie and Clyde, and then she stabs him in the fucking heart.
yeah.
Stabs Sydney one more time. Sydney passes out, and like you said, starts throwing herself around. but goes that extra step. She walks over to Trevor because she plans on pinning it on Trevor and Charlie.
Yeah.
She takes his hand and puts his fingernails on her
Oh,
cheek
yeah,
and
dude.
scratches it so that his DNA
That
would be
was
under
fucking
his
nuts.
nails. Takes his hand, grabs the hair, pulls her hair out so it looks like he pulled her hair out.
Mhm.
It's so well thought out.
That was
also,
so
she's
fucking dope.
she is fucking cold as ice, ruthless, man. The way she shoots Trevor in the dick.
She does. I put
Guys,
in,
do not cheat on women. Do not cheat on them for a lot of reasons.
for a
but
lot of reasons, but
this being
that you never know.
one of the
I said shot that dude in the pee-pee, R.I.p.
shot
Yeah.
his dick off and then just shoots him in the head, like cold blood, like no
Yeah.
remorse. Dude, she even talks about because in the movie, so I don't know if we even mentioned we're so sporadic with our discussions. I love it.
Yeah, dude.
But so Jill is
great.
Sydney's cousin. I don't know if we even mentioned that,
Mhm.
but Jill is Sydney's cousin. So in the movie, Sydney's mother, who has been a focal point of these movies for the most part, you find out she has a sister. And the sister, Sydney's aunt, dies in like a very kind of brutal fashion. She gets stabbed through a mail slot when she's trying to like
Yeah.
hold the door, and you're like, oh, that's
I thought
creative.
the knife was just gonna go through the door as they
No, it went
usually
through her
do.
skull as it
Yeah, I know.
as well.
It was-
Can we? I getting so off track. I wanted to mention the so the Ghostface calls in this, and this
Yes.
is something that we haven't really delved into, and I wanted to make it a point to talk about in this movie because I think I briefly mentioned in our Scream 2 debate that in Scream 1 the calls, they're so memorable and distinct. You get the iconic "what's your favorite scary movie?"
Mhm.
I'm gonna gut you like a fish. The part
Yeah.
where he's like, I want to know who I'm looking at. All of that stuff, especially in the opening call with Drew Barrymore, it's great. Even when he's talking to Sydney in the first one, and she's like, "Very funny, Randy," and he goes, "That's because I'm not Randy." It's great. Scream 2 and 3, the Ghostface calls just aren't as good. 2 because they're just not as memorable in my opinion, not as well written, not as scary. And then in 3 they do the stupid voice changing technology. So most of the calls in that movie are just like other characters. So it's like
Right.
just David Arquette saying creepy things.
Yeah.
But in this one, some of my favorite Ghostface lines, period. And one in particular, and it's right after one of the absolute bloodbath, most brutal deaths in the franchise. The second kill in this movie, the second kill scene, I guess, third death, because the film opens up, and we can talk about the opening in a little bit because it's
Yeah,
I
man,
kinda
I'm
love
so
it. I
excited
kinda
because
love
that's like
it.
half of my notes.
I kind of love it. I kind of hate it. But
I fucking love it.
ultimately, I do end up loving it. But
Yeah.
so the first real like main character to die is Jill and Kirby's friend Olivia, who lives right across the street, which I think is a nice little homage to the first Nightmare on Elm Street, because in
Yeah.
that one, Nancy lives right across the street from her boyfriend Johnny Depp's character, which I think I feel like probably an homage.
Oh,
his own-
definitely.
to
Are you
his
kidding
own
me?
movie, I guess. To his
The
own
amount
movie, I
of
guess.
like different like references and stuff
Oh,
like that
yeah.
in this movie, you have to know like that's got to be intentional. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But anyway, he calls. So Jill
cops
and Kirby,
outside the house too thing.
cops outside the house. Adam Brody and Anthony Anderson.
Anthony
which
Anderson, I
is
fucking love that
so
guy.
Funny. It's
so
funny.
fucking good. And yes, their thing was so good. I love the conversation that they had, like
Yeah.
in the thing about the like horror movies. They're like, oh, do you want to check the like I'll check the perimeter, and it's like, wait, you're not supposed to say that. It's like, oh yeah, you're right, but it's like, no,
Well,
movies
he
are so
says,
new nowadays, like modern like things, they always like to flip it around, so at this point it's either or. Like he's like,
he says I'll be right back. He says
Yeah,
the
I'll
line
be right back.
from Scream 1.
yeah,
Nice little
my God.
callback.
Such a
Yeah,
funny
they're
conversation.
they're so ineffective in this movie too.
Yeah, they're like, and then
Starting
they're
with
like, and cops always die.
yeah,
Like
except
what?
Bruce
It
Willis.
sucks. Yeah, and it's like fuck Bruce Willis. They said I have that in here. Yeah, I was just so fucking laughing at fuck Bruce
Yeah. Oh,
Willis.
that's a great scene. But so they they're sitting outside, supposedly guarding Jill and Kirby, who are staying at Jill's house. And they're watching Shaun of the Dead, which I love that movie, and I hope we
Yeah.
talk about that someday on this podcast because I love that movie. But they're watching Shaun of the Dead, and across the street is Olivia. They're on the phone with her, and they get a call from Ghostface,
Mm.
and he spooks them, and he's like, check the closet. They go in the closet, not there, and he's like, I didn't say your closet. And then he pops out of
Yes,
Olivia's
and
closet.
man, I knew that was gonna happen. Well, like, I mean, that's why they like kind of like had the
Yeah.
camera a bit
Oh
on
yeah.
the window across the
The
street and stuff
setup
like
is
that.
great, but
I
dude,
loved
her
it.
death is
Fucking
probably the most
brutal.
brutal since Drew Barrymore's.
That's what I put down, man. I was like, hang on.
She gets gutted. Oh my god. The blood splatter in the room
I see.
is
Yeah, I just said they're a bit fucking brutal. Damn.
dude,
Oh my
he
god.
rips her apart and you're watching it from across the room. Sydney runs upstairs cuz she hears the screaming, and this is where you get
Smashes
she
it through
cuz
a
she
fucking
goes
window.
she rushes across cuz Sydney's a badass and that's what she does. She runs across to the house, gets a phone call after looking in the room, and dude, do you remember what he says to her? Cuz if not, I will remind you.
Go for it.
He says, and I quote, I'm going to slit your eyelids in half so you can't blink before I stab you in the face.
Oh yeah, dude.
That is
He was fucking
insane.
threatening. I
That is
remember that.
insane. And one of the other lines that I love in this movie, and you already talked about it a little bit, but Alison Brie gets killed probably was 25, 30 minutes into the movie. And it's right after she gets fired by Sydney. And then she's like, for like 2 minutes straight, she's like in the elevator and like trying to justify to herself and like cope with it. And she's like, nah, she'll call me later. She'll take me back. And anyway, she gets into the parking garage and she gets a call from Ghostface. And she is like, oh, I'm handling Sydney's calls. Can I take a message? And he goes, you are the message.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That
and
was
her
pretty
death
great.
is
That's like, oh man, she's so
dude,
screwed.
one of the scariest scenes I think in any of these movies for me is her death, because so for some reason she gets out of her car and tries to run
Yeah,
to
no.
the stairwell.
I have a note on that, but go
Yeah,
for it.
well, she tries to run to, and dude, this scene is so scary just thinking about it. I don't know why it skeeves me out. I think it's because Ghostface in this movie is so brutal, not with his calls, well, with his calls, but also just how he kills people and how like effective he is. But so she gets out of the car, she tries running to the stairwell. She gets to it, realizes the door is locked, and turns around, and immediately Ghostface is like full on sprinting at her and is like 5 feet away. And it's
Yeah,
like,
dude.
oh fuck, she's fucked. She's done. And dude, then she gets thrown from middle of a police press conference discussing the recent murders, and her body gets thrown from the parking garage, landing on an SUV or some shit. Like,
Man, I loved that scene so much. But
yeah.
like the why I, like, the thing that I had a note on was when I was thinking about how like, oh, they kind of put it in your head that they're making a movie, and which is another thing that we should touch on, because I thought that was really interesting how like they did kind of lead with, or like kind of make it seem like that's what they were going for, because of like so much of like the meta, and because we know how they are with like movies, how they want to make it movies, and like the motive ended up just being like wanting fame, which is so much, it's so like different. I feel like it's like Cotton. It's like as if Cotton were like actually the killer for the fame and
Yeah.
shit.
So I guess they did end up going with that sort of theme
So
because
that's
that
fucking
was whenever,
interesting.
yeah, a little
Yeah,
reuse there.
but
And also,
anyways,
like they returned to Woodsboro, which was going to be the
yeah,
original plot of the third one. So it seems like they got to use some of the ideas that they never ended up going with.
that's cool. I
I
like
like
thinking of
that.
it that way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hmm. But
Hmm.
but what I was saying was that like when I was thinking that it was going to be um somebody making the movie and like
Mm-hmm.
setting up scenes, it had me thinking about that scene in which kind of why the fuck did she get out of her car? Um and I was like, did she drop her key? Like I had to rewatch it. Like, did she drop her keys, or does she have to make like a believable looking alibi?
Yeah.
And then I also completely neglected the fact that her body is also thrown out of the parking garage. Which I mean, like as soon as I saw
Crazy.
that they were right in front of the like hospital still, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, she's gonna they're gonna do something like that, aren't they? And they totally fucking did. And it did not ruin it for me at all. I was still like happy to see it because I was like, damn, they are really like are going for it. But it did like also completely wipe her character uh from me thinking that it would be her. But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's something I was thinking about.
She gets killed. Yeah, like I said, fairly early on, but
Mm-hmm.
um. Yeah, I just going back to like I just love how brutal Ghostface is in this, and I know I had mentioned it when we were talking about Scream 3 that I love how this film kind of returns back to horror in a
Mm-hmm.
way that 2 and 3 kind of lean, especially 3 lean more into comedy. And I think I like what Josh had said on that episode. I kind of agree that I like when the film is rooted in horror and is more focused on horror, but also has some humor sprinkled in. And that's why I think I is my favorite sequel because again, I love how brutal Ghostface is in this movie, just with his phone calls and just the brutal way he kills people. Like it is like we didn't even we talked about the line, but
Mm-hmm.
so the way that Anthony Anderson dies in this movie is first off, Adam Brody gets his throat slit right outside the car, and then Ghostface breaks the window, I believe, and then stabs Anthony Anderson just
Right in the
right in the
forehead.
forehead, like
Yeah.
directly in the forehead, and you see the
Frontal
whole
lobe is
thing.
Dunzo.
Yeah, and it's just every kill in this movie is just so beyond aggressive and brutal, and
Yeah, that's
it
so
like
true.
you're used to Ghostface just kind of being a goofball in these movies. Like he kills
Mm-hmm.
people usually by the end of it, but he's kind of a goofball in most of these movies.
Yeah, and
He's like falling over and getting knocked down and shit. This movie,
the one part
he
where he like
is so
slashes at a
efficient.
girl and then she's like
Yeah.
running away and like they have like their a big fucking tumble and they go to like their garage and she's like crawling and then like closes like the garage door on her like back and like
Nice
breaks
callback
something.
again.
Yeah, dude. I was thinking about that and he just walks up and she's just like it's so hopeless, but it's like fuck. Yeah,
Well,
no, that she drags him back in.
let's since you said you were excited to talk about that, let's discuss that opening scene because I think it's
Yes.
so much better than 2 and 3 in terms of like an awesome
Yes.
opening scene.
I okay, so here I'm just gonna like run you through my notes
Okay.
of this part. I'm gonna say each and every one
Sounds like a
because
plan.
I loved it. Um, so I said Lucy Hale. Um, interesting choice. Like I thought, like oh, that's a pretty fine choice for because she ended up doing like other stuff like Truth or Dare, and it's like Paradise Island or something like that where it's
Two movies we will never talk about on this podcast.
no. We'll definitely talk about Truth or Dare at some point. I'm excited.
Uh
Uh, but yeah, uh, they had Saw slander at the beginning as well. I have yet to comment on it because I haven't really gone into the Saw franchise at all. But I don't doubt that she was right when she was talking mad smack about it
I
just
like
being
Saw
like
4.
gory and nothing like
It's torture
thing.
porn.
Yeah, right. That's what she was saying, yeah.
I like it.
Uh, and then yeah, they were talking about that. So I was like starting off hot with the meta. We love that.
Hmm.
Um, Facebook and slide phones, 2011. I said with a little smiley face. Um, that was fun. Catfished with Channing Tatum. Yeah, there was this one time that I was on the internet. This was like when I was a youngin, and like I think feel like if you're younger than like 16 even,
Uh-huh.
like the internet's not a great place for you to be. But
No.
um but there was like somebody who like said that they like just looked like Adele and they sent me a picture of Adele. I was like,
Oh
that
no.
is hilarious. I
Did
mean,
you
yeah.
believe it?
No.
Oh.
It's, like
You were building it
I
up
was a
like you
kid,
got
but I was like,
tricked.
no, I was a kid, but I was like, all right, that's stupid. But yeah, no. Um and then like they got like a call at the beginning like it was like the Ghostface call,
Mhm.
and he kept like saying like violent shit. He's like, "I'll fucking kill you," and then she was like, "Oh, it's for you," like gives it to her friend like fucking willy nilly.
Did
I'm
you
like, that's rude as
recognize
hell.
her friend at all?
I know she's a big name. I don't think I know her from
She's not
anything.
that big.
Or
So
like,
that's
yeah,
Shanae
she's a
Grimes.
recognizable name, I guess.
She was in Degrassi and then left
Ah,
Degrassi to be in 90210. So I
ah,
know those are the two big things that she was in
nice.
that I've seen her in at least. So
Yeah.
maybe she's in other stuff. Anyway, yeah, those are
Uh,
the
LOL. Yeah. And then I thought it was funny that the door had no peephole for them to look out of when like there was a knock at the door.
yeah.
Um and like Lucy Hale's character is really fucking like invalidating her fear of like what's going on because her friend has like a stalker boyfriend. She is like unsupportive as shit and like uh, I said no people weak. Also fake friend for invalidating her fear. Men are crazy. And then bitch ass Ghostface got me again when he like popped out from the side. Um, yeah, who's silly. And um, then because I really took it seriously, but then there was like the other Ghostface that came from outside, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now we know we have at least two, could be more, you never know. And then I say, aha, they fucking got me. I knew they were going to do it too. I just didn't expect it to be this one. The fucking commercial for Stab 6. So that is what I was freaking out about, was because at the beginning they start off with that like scene, that like the Drew Barrymore scene. That's how I'll refer to it as. Uh,
Hmm.
but they were doing that, and then as it turns out, that was just a trailer for, or like part of the beginning of the movie of Stab
Yeah.
6, the
Movie within
fictional,
a movie.
yes, the fictional movie within the Scream universe. Um, also, I said also sixth movie in a franchise. I bet you it's not going to be well received. And then you see on the couch is are two ladies. One is Kristen Bell. I said that's cool. I didn't know who the other one was. I do know she's also kind of like a bigger name, right? In a Paquin, right?
Yeah, Anna Paquin. She was in the
Was she
X-Men
in?
movies. She was
Oh
in
man.
X-Men,
Oh man.
and she was also in
Oh, I'm gonna get hate.
she was in True Blood,
Well, that's all right. Yeah,
the
no, I
HBO
like,
show.
knew I heard the name so much, but like, yeah.
Hmm.
So
She
yeah,
actually, I think
Kristen
she has
Bell.
an Academy Award. I think for something. I just don't know what.
Shout out to her.
I just know her in
Um,
X-Men.
yeah, man. And then like Kristen Bell says like they like talk about how like Facebook, how it wouldn't be Facebook and to be used like so
Mm-hmm.
popularly at the time. And Kristen Bell was like, yeah, I guess it would be Twitter now. And I'm like thinking about it now, and it's like that's weird that it's not Twitter anymore, but it is like. But
Everyone still calls it
yeah,
Twitter.
everybody still calls it
Elon
Twitter.
Musk doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. And then they said, and then I said, shit talking meta while being meta. That's like meta squared. I, yeah, because they were like, oh my god, and all this stuff is predictable. They always try to do all this stuff, and I'm like, you're a funny little guy, aren't you? But I liked it.
Yeah, it was cute.
And then Kristen Bell just goes and straight stabs her friend in the stomach. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Kristen Bell looked too psychopathic like the entire time because she did not. I think she like didn't even smile the entire like scene and looked like really like dead
Yeah.
eyed. But that was on purpose because my next note is ha 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 ha. I fucking love this. And that's because that was the trailer for for Stab 7. And I'm like, oh my god. I like because
Oh,
what I
they
said
did
what
it
I said
twice.
before was that I knew they were going to do it. That means I knew that they were going to have like a pretty meta thing by having it be a trailer and then they do the reveal. I thought I was out of the woods and fucking no. They got me
They get
again.
you. They
They
got
got
you.
me again and I'm like, god shit, like yeah.
It
And
works.
then I
It
said,
works really well for this franchise.
yeah. I said for the next like couple of people who were sitting on the couch watching the trailer, um, I said I don't know either of these people, so maybe this is the actual movie. Um, so, which is
I know the
so.
one, the second girl who dies,
Hmm.
the one with I think she has bangs. That's Amy Teagarden. She plays
Hmm.
the coach's daughter in the Friday Night Lights TV show.
Huh.
That's the only
Never
thing.
watched it.
It's a good show. I like it.
Sweet.
It's pretty solid.
Well,
Anyway, yeah.
um, yes, I said I fucking swear if they hit us at the end saying the movie is Stab 8, I don't know what I'll do. And then I said, but also I feel concerned for Stab 7. How are they going to keep going from there? They already know who one of the killers are.
Mm.
They already know who a killer is. Maybe it ends up as a Ghostface slash Stab literal cult following. This is my prediction for Stab 7. That's not a real movie. Um,
I would love to watch the Stab movies. I would pay money
I would
to see
watch the
those.
Stab movies. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Um, then they were like their friends. They were like fucking around, like at home, and then they get like a call, or the one girl
Mm.
gets like a call, and she answers the phone, and it's like the ghost faced like voice, and then it ends up being her friend playing a trick on her, and I'm like, how'd she do the voice though? So wasn't sure
They have
about
an
that.
they have an app.
Oh, was that what it is?
Yeah, remember? Because when she gets called, she goes like, "Haha, Marnie, I know you can't do because you don't have the Ghostface app or whatever." They would,
Nice.
but you know what? I don't think
That's
in
funny.
our real world they have an app because I would love a Ghostface app.
Uh,
I
I
think I've
feel like
looked into it.
well, it's obviously possible. It's not like a
They
out,
could do it.
outrageous thing, but yeah, they probably have like ringtones even of like
They
I'm gonna
should not
touch you
give.
like a fish.
They shouldn't give me the power to do the Ghostface voice because I would totally. I would just prank call all my friends and I just. Even
That'd
the
be
ones I
fucking
know haven't
awesome.
seen Scream, I'd be like, "What's your favorite scary movie?"
Well, you could probably do that now with like AI stuff.
Oh
They
yeah,
probably have that
probably.
out there.
Oh yeah, I should try that.
Um, yeah. So I don't. Yeah, yeah. That was my notes for like the intro. Really, I said little fuck yeah for having a 4.0 GPA. The one girl when she's like talking about how like dumb she is or whatever.
Yeah, because he's like, "You're the dumb girl with the big tits that doesn't make it out of the
Yeah,
first act," or something like that. And she's like, "I got a
yeah.
4.0." Also,
4.0 GPA like 139, 149. I don't know
did
IQ
you
stuff, so that's why I didn't put that down. But I do know 4.0
when
is dope.
she gets the call, I don't know if you noticed, but because I don't think I noticed it the first time I watched, which I don't know how, because I'm usually good at picking up on that stuff. But when she answers the phone, she says, "Is this Trevor?" Who is
Yes,
I didn't catch that the first time.
I heard Trevor, and I'm like,
Yeah.
huh.
So I guess that's implying that that's the girl that he cheated on Jill with, I guess. I guess that's the way you're supposed to take it, which would make sense why Jill would have Charlie kill them.
Shit. That's
Yeah, I don't know if I
interesting.
mentioned it, but I remember how I talked about those videos that like suspect who killed who in these films.
Yeah.
Apparently a lot of people say that this one is kind of like Scream 2, where most of the kills were done by Charlie, except for a couple. Maybe I think Jill might have killed her mom, because she does mention it towards the end. She's like, even my own mom had to die. But I guess maybe she just would have known about that. Oh, I don't know if you caught
Yeah,
this
either
too.
way.
This is such a clever little inclusion. But Trevor, in the final scene of the movie, when he's tied up and gets his dick shot and then gets shot in the head, he's wearing the same exact outfit that Sydney's dad, Neil, was wearing in Scream 1. The
No
overall.
fucking way.
Yeah, dude. I was
serious?
I saw someone point that out on like Reddit or something. I was like, see, that's the stuff
That's
I like.
awesome.
I like those little details.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we were talking about the opening scene. That's again, like, it's a pretty brutal kill. Like, you don't really see the first girl get killed. You just see her body get thrown.
Yeah, I said taking a note from the last movie. I didn't see her be killed, so it's not sitting right with me.
But then when the main girl, the one who I said was in Friday Night Lights, when she gets killed, I think her name was Marnie or something. When she gets killed, that's pretty brutal. She gets stabbed in the back. You see it, and that's what I like about this one as opposed to 2 and 3, is I feel like you really do see the stabs, like we talked about the Anderson Cooper one, or not Anderson Cooper, Anthony Cooper, Anthony Anderson. What am I saying? Anthony Anderson. When he gets stabbed in the head, you see that, and the blood is just like gushing out. We already talked about Olivia's death, dude. I cannot get over it. Have you seen the first Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yes.
Dude, that scene, that bedroom, it looks exactly. I feel like it's got to be another homage to his own movie, but that scene looks like just like how Johnny Depp's room looks after he gets sucked into his bed, and it just like starts spewing blood, because her room is covered in blood. Like, it is.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts.
And I will say,
shit.
I don't know how you feel about it, because we didn't really talk about the characters too much yet, but
Sure.
I like that Dewey is not a complete idiot in this movie.
Yes,
He's
man,
not like a bumbling fool. He's more serious, and I think that's good
yeah.
character growth for Dewey.
He's not a bumbling fool, but he's still like his like
he's still like
sweet,
got like
self.
Yes.
Like
he's
still his signature Dewey sweetness.
Yes.
It was really funny. Oh my god, I loved Judy and Gail's thing at the beginning.
Their little tiff.
They're like,
your lemon squares taste like ass.
Your lemon squares taste like ass. That's one of my notes over here. I like
when she tries to give them to Dewey, and he's like, no, thank you. And she's like, oh, it's not cheating on your wife to eat my lemon square. And he's like, no, but it would be cheating on my diet.
I know, like that kind of thing is such a him thing to say, and I fucking love it. I liked that Gail had someone to kind of step to her, since it couldn't really be Dewey in this movie.
And she saves Gail at the end.
And she does save Gail at the end. I was like, damn, that's what's up. I thought she was a killer the entire time.
As we're saying, Dewey's not goofy in this movie, and then it makes me think of the final scene, and he gets knocked out by like one of those piss pans.
Bedpan, yeah. I'm like, come on, man.
Okay.
And also, like, Emma Roberts, is she like that yoked at the time for her to be like smacking the shit out of a grown man with a bedpan? He's gonna be knocked out. Like,
well,
for the count.
do you know what I find?
And then
funny?
Also, like, right after, she like throws Nev Campbell, a grown ass woman, into a like cabinet sideways.
She knees her right where she stabbed her too.
Oh yeah! Oh my god,
brutal.
that was fucking brutal. Oh man.
She's violent
Ugh.
as
She
fuck.
is
I'm
violent as
telling
fuck.
you, man. The people in
She's
this
so
movie
aggressive, and it's
are,
like,
yeah,
yeah, man. Like you were saying before, like the kills were so aggressive. It was so cool to see like her still be that aggressive without the mask on. Like
yes. Like
it
you
was
said, her
like damn, like
monologue
she
is
didn't
great.
stop. Like yeah, she didn't stop being Ghostface when she took the thing off. Like she
No,
was fucking brutal.
that's what I love too, and we've mentioned it in each of the episodes so far, but I think Jill and Charlie fall into the category for me of characters that are still effectively scary after the mask is off,
Yeah,
because Charlie is just unhinged and Jill is just psychotic. Like
she's
her thing at
nuts,
the
man.
end, the way that she discusses like how easy it was to kill her friends, like because Sydney's like, your
Yeah,
friends, like
it's
how could
fucking
you do this?
chilling.
And she's like, my friend. That's like my intro was addressing that, but she's like, my friends. I don't need friends. I need fans. And then I
Mm.
love that line that she has to Sydney where she's like, don't you see, this wasn't about killing you, this was about becoming you. And
Yeah, and
then
that's like the whole theme with like the remakes or like reboots and
exactly,
whatever. Like they really played on that so fucking well. I like it like blew my mind because it's like, and that's actually one thing I was gonna say before when you were telling me about how this movie wasn't as like well, or not well received, but more that it didn't earn as much as like the other movie. Like this is the
yeah,
lowest
did the
earning,
worst, yeah, lowest earning.
but like
I
how
blame
could
Scream 3
that?
for that.
Well, I'm like thinking like 10 years later, people are thinking, how are they going to do this 10 years later? And like, will it actually be good? And it's like, it's the fourth movie. It's like, they're like, and they just play on that before people have even seen the movie. So it's like, so it like already repelled people from watching the movie. That is my guess. Um, but like, I've like had people known that it would be really good and would
Yeah,
completely like flip the script on the whole thing. Like I fucking loved it.
just
I
the
thought that
the
was so like smart.
the balls to make your, like, again, like it almost in a way the movie is kind of leading into this sort of passing of the torch kind of thing where you feel
Yeah.
like, oh, they're ushering in Jill as sort of this like new Sydney. Like she's got a boyfriend who acts very creepy like Billy did, and even sneaks
Yeah.
through her window, and is kind of,
Kind of
he like
fucking
does
creepy. Like
does a lot of things that Billy did. He sneaks through her
mhm.
window. He, had that scene where in the first one where Billy scares Randy and he's like boo or whatever.
Mhm.
Trevor does that to Robbie in the
Where he's
school and
right
he's like,
behind the locker
yeah,
door when she closes it thing.
exactly. He's always just like lurking and like,
Mhm.
and
And
then like
conveniently like there, like way too conveniently there.
I love too where at the end where he
Yeah.
does show up at the after party and they're like, "Why are you here?" And he's like, "I got a
Mm.
text from Jill." And she's like, "What? No, you didn't." And in the moment you're like, "Oh, who texted him?" And then you think back now and you're like, "Oh shit, she probably did just text him to
She
come."
probably did just straight text him. She fucking lied. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
She's so good. I again like harping on that monologue. I love it when she's like, I was so good today. I told so many lies that even I started to believe them.
Yeah,
And
man.
she's just next level crazy. I love it. And I wish to, I don't even like Roman as a character, but there, and I guess like a draft of the script that got leaked online or
Mm.
something, there was an original line where Jill does mention Roman and like, oh, our cousin, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I love so many aspects of this movie. I like the music. I think I noted in the opening scene the music is very good. Like it has that kind of that choir that Wes Craven likes to use in his movies. He's used it in most of the Scream films, and he
Mm.
does it in Nightmare on Elm Street too. But he likes to usher in choir, and it adds like this kind of gothic horror element to the whole
Yeah.
thing, which I really like. The kills are absolutely brutal in this movie. I like how the pacing I think is fantastic. Like the
Oh
movie kind
yeah.
of sits at like an hour and 51 minutes, I believe, but just absolutely
I did
cruises
not
by.
notice how much time went by when I was halfway through, like, because I was just like, I was really in it. and
Mhm.
like let it be known these movies take like a little bit longer for me to watch when when I stop it and take like a little note. Um, so I was like, but like I was just so like invested in the movie and like doing my little notes and whatnot. Like I just didn't realize how much time had gone by. So it's just like it. I think that speaks to how well it is paced and how much
Mhm.
like you are able to just be engaged with this whole thing. Um, and
Yeah,
it grabbed me and it kept me there, man. Like I had such a fun time with this movie.
it does again, and that's why I love it so much. And I'll just reiterate that it does harken back so much for me to the first film. And I even had mentioned in my notes, like, oh, 15 to 20 minutes in, and this movie has already fixed so many issues that I had with the second and third films.
Yeah, man.
That making Ghostface scary again, leaning into the horror elements, because I think this is like ultimately a pretty damn effective slasher. Like I find Ghostface in this film to be, we've mentioned already multiple times, very brutal, aggressive, and overall there's just, I don't know, there's just, like we said, the pacing is just really strong, and similar to the first film, it just, every scene just kind of builds upon the last. It doesn't feel like there's much
Hmm.
downtime in this movie. It feels
Hmm.
like all of the events take place relatively sequentially and just kind of naturally bleed into the next moment.
Hmm.
And I love too how they, with the, keeping up the theme of the whole remake and new generation, new rules thing, and how the
Right.
killers in this film are trying to remake the original in a way. How the stabathon, which, okay, can we talk about the stabathon for like half a second? They
Yeah, dude.
mentioned that like the stabathon is all 7 stabs back to back to back.
Hmm.
That is like
That's
bare
insane.
minimum. That's like 14 hours of movie.
That's
If
literally insane.
if you're thinking they're all around the same length as the Scream movies,
Right.
which I have to assume they are, so like an hour 40, hour 50, close to 2 hours, that's like 14 hours.
That is, yeah, that is a lot of
and
fucking movies.
and I don't know if this is a mistake or if I'm just reading it the wrong way, but when they go to the after party, which is what my original thought was leading to,
Hmm.
how the Stabathon is the fake ending and the after party at Kirby's house is the real ending, which that also doesn't end up being true because then there's another ending at the
Right, dude.
hospital.
Oh, that's so true.
But the they're all at like Kirby's house and they're drinking, and Charlie goes, "I'm gonna put on Stab 7. Nobody cancels my movie marathon." And in my head, I'm taking that as, am I supposed to believe that they got through all the other 6 stab movies before the party got interrupted by the Ghostface attack? Or is he just saying he just wants to watch the last one to end it? I don't
I'm
know.
gonna say, I think we kind of have to come to that conclusion because
It would be
I
like
don't think they physically had enough time to do all that.
no, the last we watched saw that they was them watching Stab 1, because we've seen
Yeah.
clips of Stab 1 before,
Yeah. It's
which is
awesome.
awesome. I love seeing
It's
that.
so good.
So I,
And
I
they're all
want to know
reciting
who
the words.
I want to know who directed the real Stab 3 after Roman Bridger got killed. Because he was making Stab
Oh,
3, so I'd
that's
like to know.
true. They would have
Do you
had
think
to keep
Robert
going through with that.
Do you think Robert Rodriguez made it back to direct Stab 3 in the Scream canon? I'm sure somebody has the answer to this.
Probably.
I don't know. They
There's
didn't.
definitely a subreddit out there
There's
that's very
most
knowledgeable on this subject.
definitely a subreddit. Let me check my notes. I'm sure there's something. Oh, I kind of, we didn't mention it, but the reason that Sydney's back in Woodsboro is she's on a book tour, and she wrote a book, a self-help book, Out of
Mhm.
Darkness. And I really love that for Sydney, because when we see her at the beginning of Scream 3, she's very secluded. She works as a women's helpline anonymously, uses a different name. She's like secluded herself, has really bad security, but security nonetheless, like an
Mhm.
easily hoppable gate, but whatever. There's
Yeah.
like an alarm, I guess. But either way, the movie ends with her being free and leaving the door open, which even if you're free, you probably shouldn't leave your front door open. just putting that into the ethos. But I love how in Scream 4 now she's out in the public. She doesn't hide anymore. She has written a book with the intention of helping people. And I like how it's made clear with Alison Brie's character that Sydney doesn't really care about the book sales and being famous. She really did write the book to help people and to, help those struggling with trauma and whatnot. And I don't know, I just love that for her reinventing herself in every movie.
Instead of like being a
Yeah.
victim, that's what she was saying, was like not staying
Exactly.
a victim, becoming like her own person. And like it was super great. That's funny, we haven't talked really too much about Sydney, but
I
because
love her in this film.
she's just such a fucking powerhouse. Every time she's on screen, she's fucking on it, throwing fucking hands. I Man, I like every once in a while I'll just be like gushing about Sydney. Sydney is amazing as always. Sydney fucking shit. Like that was when I was like, she knocked out like Ghostface sort of, but like
I love the
just
scene
continuing to
where
hold her own is
in
nuts.
retrospect it sucks that Jill was the killer, because I think the scene when the killer's trying to enter the room with her and Jill and she like pretends to make it look like Jill
Yeah.
escaped. I'm like, oh, that's so clever.
I was like, that
And
is
then
clever as shit.
ultimately you're like, Jill played her ass.
I'm like, damn, that sucks so much.
Dude,
But
Sydney,
yeah,
this
so
poor
then
woman.
yeah, man. So I had said Sydney will stop at no end to be the best final girl on the planet.
Absolutely.
And then I said, then I was defending Sydney because like, they have like this whole thing about Sydney Prescott being the angel of death. So like if you
Mhm.
hang around her, like you're sure to die kind of thing.
Yeah.
So she has that kind of reputation already, that in the town. And there's like the point where like, what's her name, the one friend who was murdered,
Olivia.
Olivia, yes. Uh she like Sydney went next door like by her damn self, which is insane.
Mhm.
And went just booked it straight for Ghostface, and like found everybody, and then the cops came and all that. Um and she's like walking outside, and then like somebody's like yelling like, oh Sydney, you fucking suck, oh Sydney, you're the worst. And then she was like, this is your fault, Sydney. And then somebody was like, Sydney, you're just like your mother. And I'm like, how the fuck is Sydney at all like her mother? Like, not in the slightest. Like, there's the only thing we know about her mom is that she just like, she seemed to go around, and
She got around, yeah.
yes, and then she died. That was literally it. Like that was it. And Sydney has like done nothing but like the most badass things and survived so much.
Sydney survived
How the fuck like
Sydney survived 3 like killing encounters, mass murders,
yeah,
and is also a best-selling author now.
right, like how the fuck is she like her mother at
Well,
all?
to be fair, like I love Sydney, love her to death. Need to
Mm,
preface this.
huh.
Olivia does have a point with the
Slander.
Angel of Death comment, because
Yeah.
everywhere Sid goes, a lot of people do die. Like
Yeah.
the
I get,
the smartest character in any of the Scream films is Joel the cameraman from Scream 2, because
That's
when
so
shit
fucking
gets
true.
hairy, he books it. Aaron at that
Yeah,
time was
man.
still thinking that he was the killer, but he just
I
books it.
had like a little bit of a thing, like a little bit of an idea that he would be, but then
I'm glad you're past the point of because there were people still when Scream 4 came out still guessing that like Dewey or Gale would be one of the killers, and like I feel like by
I was
4 movies there's no way.
yeah, I was thinking about that because I thought, for one thing, they could totally still go that route
Mm.
if like they play on like the trauma that they experienced altogether.
I think they would receive
But
too much backlash.
yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think Right, but that's what kind of like made me think about that. Like, I don't think this would be nearly as good of a movie if
Hmm.
they were to kind of like go that way.
No, I
Um,
mean, again, even though they're married and together, they do spend most of the movie fucking arguing because
yeah,
Gail wants to like be a part of the investigation and Dewey. Okay,
yeah,
so
can't let her
how do
be.
you feel about that? Do you think he should let her help, or do you think he is absolutely right when he says like, "Listen, I'm the chief now. I can't just let people like civilians and help with the
He was
investigation."
he's a sheriff, or
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's
Um,
sheriff because it says so on his car.
yeah, man. I think he totally should have let her go along with things. Like, it's funny because like we, I have the tendency to be like, "Fuck it, get out of there" kind of thing. As evidenced in like on different occasions, but like with remember with
Multiple episodes,
VHS.
VHS, and
Yeah.
then Wreck, and then Cloverfield, and then
like if shit's
I
scary,
guess
just jump ship. But like
probably
Courtney
this
Cox.
movie when Sydney ran in to help Olivia. Like Aaron's like, nah, I'm good on that.
But all right, the character assassination will not stand. Um, will so
I wouldn't go either.
no, but it's true. It's
I
true.
wouldn't
I don't
go
fucking
either.
care.
Yeah.
If it's that insane, like you're not
I
gonna
don't even
stay.
think she grabbed a
But
weapon. I could be wrong, but I don't remember.
don't know. But I think, God damn it, off my shit.
What were we talking about?
What were we talking about, man?
Sydney. I know we were talking about Sydney.
We were talking about Sydney. She's great.
She is
She's
great.
fucking great.
Love that
Damn
girl.
it. Just her like a mother. I remember talking about that.
I like being back in Woodsboro. I think that's cool. I haven't been back since the first movie.
What we were talking about was sorry.
No, you're good.
What we were talking about was letting Gail come with Dewey
Right, right.
on the like and be like with Dewey on the investigation. I totally think she should have, because Courtney Cox, like Gail Weathers, Gail what's her last name now? Starts with an R.
Riley.
Dewey's Riley.
Yeah,
There you
Riley.
go. Aw. She clearly can hold her own, and she's also like her entire reputation is being like really aggressive and going rogue anyway. Like it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Like she'll get what she's coming for, you know. But yeah, I think that like goes like a really long way. Like she can clearly hold her own. She does not necessarily need Dewey to be with her at all times. Like I'd say like she'd make for like a really solid help on the thing.
The
Um
more I think
yeah.
about it, because initially I was like, I've gone back and forth on this. Because when I first watched it, I'm like, yeah, she makes a really solid point. Like she's helped solve 3 of these, even though
Yeah.
like she keeps saying that, but did she really solve anything? Like in all 3 occasions, the killers just kind of revealed themselves. Like she didn't really uncover anything.
I still think it's a valuable at least thing to have someone who is like willing to
But
fucking stop at
well,
nothing kind
then
of thing.
I at first I was like, yeah,
That
she should
tenacity.
actually she should help. She
Grit.
has been a part of this 3 times, whatever. And then I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, he is the chief now. You can't just let like anybody, even if it's your wife, like you can't just let anybody help with these investigations. But then I thought Detective Kincaid in the 3rd Scream is also like, are detectives and sheriffs held to like different standards? I guess maybe a little more
I would
freedom.
say so, yeah, because you have, I would say, like a lot more eyes on you,
Yeah,
because you are like
probably
a more
detectives can.
prominent like figure. Then he's like,
That
and he
makes
had to like
sense.
speak and stuff. Detective, you can definitely like, your whole thing is being undercover,
No,
or
I
being
agree.
like having a low profile. But that guy was so fucking sketchy in the last movie.
Yeah. I love the
I
sketchy all the sketchy
That's my
characters.
fucking
Like we
guessed him,
talked
man.
about it briefly, but like
Yeah.
Judy when she's like talking to Sydney in that scene. Well, because the actress, again, I don't mean
The
this with any
lighting.
disrespect. We mentioned it in the VHS episode. Some actresses just have like bigger, sort of buggier eyes.
and it's done on purpose.
Yeah.
Because they know what it looks like.
But they
you know?
put her in the shadows, and all you can see is like her big eyes, like just barely lit. And she's like, "Do you remember me in high
She,
school?
like-
Nah, I guess not. I was one of the Lost Boys, and you were blah blah blah." And it's like, all right, you need to
Fireboner
back the fuck up
entirely.
like 10 feet, you creepy little person. Get out of there. She's like pretty short too, and she's shorter than Sydney, and I think Sydney is supposedly pretty short.
I'm trying to remember what character it was because it sounded like a really sweet name.
Her
I
characters?
think I know Lily was in it. No, like the the character in the show that she was talking about.
What show?
The when she was having the
Is
conversation,
it Peter Pan?
She was like, was it Peter Pan?
Because the Lost Boys are from Peter Pan, right?
Yeah, the Lost Boys.
Yeah. So she was Sydney was Wendy, I think. I hope Billy Loomis was Peter Pan. I'd like to imagine that a future still.
He'd be just as like fucking emotionless, psycho, fucking scary dude.
Have you seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
I have.
Robbie is in that movie. He's one of the musicians. He's the one towards the end, I think, when Scott's friend yells out. Oh, it's when Kieran Culkin in that movie yells out like, "Oh, you suck," because they like go out and they sing 3 words, and then they're like, "Oh, this is the name of this song," and then they play like a 3-word song, and then Kieran Culkin yells out something to them, and then they're like, "This is for that guy in the crowd that won't shut up," and then they play like a 5-minute long song. He's the lead singer.
It's like it's called something like "Please Die, We Hate You."
Yeah. Oh, I love that movie. Anyway, he's that guy. He's also in Saw 2 as Donnie Wahlberg's son.
Wait, so which name was this?
Robbie. I forget the actor's name. I've seen him in Saw 2, Scott Pilgrim, and Scream 4. Oh, wait. He's in a show with Skeet Ulrich called Jericho that was 1.5 seasons long.
What the hell?
It's a good show. I like it.
Is it?
Probably not. I watched it when I was like 12.
I've seen Skeet Ulrich in besides Scream is Riverdale.
Oh, he's so good in Riverdale. He's Daddy Jughead.
He's Jughead's mom, dad.
I don't think you ever meet Jughead's mom in that show. Oh wait, no, maybe you do.
Who are you talking about?
What do you mean? The guy who's recording everything, Charlie's friend.
The cast list, it doesn't say that. It's not on. He's not. Is he not on the?
Are you clowning me right now, man? Are you messing around with me? Scream 4 gas.
That's sweet. They hyphenated. Judy Hicks.
Yo, they do put him. His name is Eric Knudsen.
Eric Knudsen.
Oh, I didn't think that was gonna be his name.
Here we go.
He's right below Roger Jackson, who voices Ghostface on the Google.
What?
That's crazy. He is above.
I don't have.
Shanae Grimes, Mary McDonnell. Quite the cast here.
Dude, I don't see him anywhere.
What are you talking about? You're out of your damn mind.
Justin Michael Brandt.
He's this guy.
Culkin, Nico Tortorella. Oh. Huh.
Yeah, he's 35 now. He was born in 1988.
I just don't see. Oh, fucking finally. I found it. That's my bae.
Why does it say that he was in Scream the original? He wasn't.
That's yes.
Fake account.
I knew that face looked familiar, but I didn't. He reminded me of what's his name? Fucking. Who is he now? Who is he too? Shit, The Boys. Son of Quaid, the Quaid, Randy Quaid? No. What's his name? You would know this, please. Jack Quaid. God.
Jack Quaid. What about Jack Quaid?
I fucking. Oh my god.
He's in Five Cream.
I thought he reminded me. Is he really?
Yeah, he's in Five Cream.
That's fucking nuts.
I love Jack Quaid.
Well, I just thought he looked a lot like that.
Oh yeah, he does kind of look like him.
The kid.
He's in
That's who you
The
reminded me
Boys.
of.
Ooh, The Boys season 4 comes out soon. Hype for that. That's a little bit of a
I
detraction.
gotta watch that, man.
Anyway, looking at my notes.
I really don't have that much to say.
We covered
'cause I don't-
most
I
of my
just don't-
notes just through.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I.
Oh.
Speaking of Robbie, I was like, I don't know if I'd film myself drinking as a minor. I feel like that's not a good idea.
No, it's not the best
Oh,
idea.
dude, I want
But
to
he
mention
died,
something
so I guess
about
it's alright.
about Charlie when he kills when he stabs Kirby. After he kills her, after he says
Yeah.
this is making a move, he says,
is
I
making
know,
a
I know, it doesn't happen as fast as it does in the movie. That line
Oh, yeah.
skeeves me out because
That was
again, I'll reiterate, the biggest knife I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
It's so
And it's
comically
like-
big.
And it's like so fucking threatening, like
Dude.
to me as an audience member, because I'm like, Jesus, like it makes it feel all the more like
I like too
Poisonous,
when
like-
Jill is after she fucking stabs Charlie in the heart, she
Mhm.
goes, you know what the media really loves? A soul survivor. I think that is excellent.
I thought that was really good. I really liked Sydney's one-liners. I said I really liked "Don't fuck with the original."
Dude, I was just looking at
That
that
was-
note. Yes.
That was so good.
Shoot, every movie when
Uh,
she fucks up the killer, she has one badass line.
Yeah.
How do you
also,
feel
I
about the
like that
clear
Judy-
line?
I thought that's where I like said Sydney with the one-liners, I think, or something like that. Like I
Clear.
fucking love that.
Electrocutes her
I
ass,
said
yeah.
Judy wore a vest correctly in that she got fucking rocked while being protected from a bullet, like when she was wearing the bulletproof vest instead of taking it like a champion, because that's not possible. She got fucking downed after getting shot one time.
Aaron, I've thought about this and why Roman is able to eat bullets like a champ. It's because he's
Yeah.
fueled by the power of revenge.
Oh, shut the fuck up. That's so stupid.
Judy
That's the dumbest thing ever.
Judy is not fueled by any revenge, just lemon squares. I could go for a lemon square. That sounds pretty good.
Not one that tastes like ass though.
No.
Anyways, that's really the end of my thing.
Oh, the last thing I want to talk about since we're kind of at the end, a part of me loves the last scene in the hospital. Part of me doesn't. Part of me loves, and I'll also too, and then we'll wrap things up. Bring up after this like the alternate ending that they were supposed to have for this movie. Because I think you'd particularly find it pretty interesting. But I love that, obviously I love that Sydney doesn't die. I think it's great keeping her alive. I love that, you get a final showdown and, Jill gets got. Because it sets up like the final shot of the movie, which I love after Jill is taken down and she, is officially donezo. But then they cut to outside and you see like this panning shot of all the reporters talking about the hero, the survivor, Jill Roberts, the a name that the world will know very soon. And it's so it's great just in contrast to
I like that.
oh, they don't even know what
Yeah.
they don't even know.
That's awesome.
And I also too I noted I love just the sheer panic on Jill's face when Dewey tells her that Sid might be alive. It's you just see
because you see she has to really play it.
Yeah.
Like
she's like
she can't let it go.
she
but, like,
breaks for a second. She's
she
like,
knows.
what?
And how wouldn't you?
Dude,
Like,
it's insane.
so good.
But I do think it would have been interesting if, like, imagine if the Scream franchise just ended that way with like Jill winning.
That's what I was like thinking. I'm like, how the fuck, like, this can't end right now. But man, like, I was really pleased with the ending and
Yeah.
how like everything turned out.
In the end, I come to just, regardless of like, because sometimes when I watch a Scream movie, as much as I love this franchise, the ending happens, and sometimes I'm a little let down by the final showdown because I always just think back to how good the original one was. But I always find something to enjoy about it, even if it's like Scream 3 and it's Sydney and Roman beating the fuck out of each other like it's like a Friday Night SmackDown match. Or this film where it's like, oh, you think it ends with like the perfect staging of a crime, and then come to find out, oh, Sydney survived, and so
Because Sydney's fucking awesome.
But yes,
And she woke up throwing hands.
I know.
Like, she woke up from
She was in
being like in a
ICU.
traumatic accident. She was in ICU.
She was in intensive care.
Waking up in the ICU, and she was getting choked out, and she was like, fuck! And she like did not hesitate. And that, I think there was like a note in here that I said, like, that is the only way that that Sydney would be caught lacking, is if like her family were to be responsible, or were to be like the killer. But it's like, that's weird that it happened twice though. So now two of the 4 movies, her family
fucked up family
member has been like a part of it. Has been
Yeah.
trying to kill her.
I would not be going to any family reunions after that. I'd probably
How do you trust fucking anyone after that,
for
man?
real? Like, that's why I think it's too why I love
so scary.
I love too when Jill I love when she walks into Sydney's room. Sydney's like just waking up, and Jill is like, you just won't fucking die. Who are you, Michael fucking Myers? And she like just jumps on her and starts choking her out like so violently. Then they have their little smackdown. But overall, yeah, I like the ending quite a bit. I think it's a fun movie. I think it's scary when it needs to be. Ghostface is back to being vicious and violent and scary, and it doesn't feel
Fucking
like
nuts,
they
man.
that doesn't feel like they pulled punches. Yeah, I love the killer reveals in this one. I just remember the first time I watched it and just being like jaw dropped that it was Jill, and being like, holy shit, they really went with like Emma Roberts being a killer.
Yeah,
And
man.
she sold it. I think she acts convincingly crazy. She's not too over
Shifted
the top.
my perspective on an entire person.
Hell yeah, Aaron's an Emma Roberts fan.
I really appreciated like her
I like Emma
her
Roberts.
performance and her
Maybe
aggression.
I find
in
I
it,
have,
like,
I have a crush on Emma Roberts. I find her pretty.
oh, that's nice.
I find her pretty attractive. She's really pretty in
oh yeah.
in what is it, that it's like a Scream Queens, I think, the MTV show.
Yeah.
She's also
I do remember like seeing her from that.
she's also pretty attractive, and I think she's in like one of the seasons of American Horror Story. She's in like the witch season.
I thought she was in like 3 different seasons.
Probably.
But she was like, I think she was like most prominent
in the
that,
the witchy
witch
one. Yeah, make more witch
Yeah.
movies. I like witches. But yeah, Scream 4, Scriforum, I think it's just a very well-paced movie. I think the kills are pretty dope. The Ghostface calls are awesome. Again, dude, when he's like, every time I get like a visceral reaction when he's like, yeah, I'm gonna slice your eyelids in half so you can't blink before I stab you in the face. I just think that is so
That is, yeah.
fucking violent.
Dude.
And like, who
You're
says
right
that?
about those good fucking lines. Like they're
Who
they're in
says
here,
that?
and it's yeah, no. I kind of came into this movie not really knowing how well I was going to take it, especially when you were telling me like it's like your favorite one, or like you said it was your favorite, right?
Favorite sequel. I still like
Favorite
the
sequel.
original the most.
The original
Yeah.
most. Yeah.
Nothing tops the original.
And it made
for
me want to watch the original right after. Like I love that movie.
Yeah.
But,
good return to form, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's how I would put it. I did feel like a lot of that kind of like how I felt in the first movie. I mentioned earlier how I thought the guessing game was underwhelming, but I think that's because I've been so like I've been so locked into like making sure I get it right.
Yeah.
I didn't like appreciate because like earlier I had said they clearly just want you to guess a little bit about everybody.
Hmm.
So at least a little bit about everybody. So that way you don't really know who it's going to be. So it's yeah. And I thought this honestly this guessing game was so interesting because of how dead fucking wrong I was.
Yeah, it makes the
Um
reveal hit so hard because you're like,
it hit so
oh
hard.
fuck.
Yeah. Like oh my god, and Jill, god,
She's so
that
good.
was so out of left
The
field.
final
But
sequence is just excellent. Like when she,
it's so
again, the
good. You're
staging.
right. Oh, that's right. That's what you were saying was like the last 20 minutes of Scream 4 was like your favorite shit.
Oh yeah, because I just
That totally is true.
I love it
I like
because
I totally get you.
even the only reason I kind of don't like the final scene in the hospital, and I still love it, I just think the one thing that detracts from me is I hate that the reason that Jill messes up after such a perfect staging is because she lets it slip that she knew where Gail was stabbed.
Yep.
And I was like, she was so smart up until that point.
But she said but like Sydney said, you'll slip up, they always do.
Yeah.
And she fucking did.
But she had it
So
so
like Sydney called it.
okay, so the original ending. So
That's
originally
another thing.
it was going to end with it wasn't going to cut to the hospital. It was going to end at the house. And
Really?
as the like similar thing where Jill is getting wheeled out and all the people are taking pictures and all the reporters are, taking videos of her and whatnot. It was going to end there, but the last thing that you were going to hear is one of the paramedics yell, "I think we have someone alive in here." And it was just going to end. And then apparently the rumor has it that Scream 5 was originally going to pick up with, and this is, I would have hated this, with Sydney having amnesia and not remembering that Jill did that. And I would have hated that.
Well,
But
that's what I like.
yeah.
Oh man, when I heard the Dewey say something like that, he was like, but don't worry, she'll like come back, but just like she'll be careful because like she'll probably not remember stuff or something like that. And I'm like, are they gonna make her have amnesia? Like that would suck really badly.
I would have hated that. No, but I was thinking about something that you had said about Scream 3, and it made me think about this movie, whereas you had kind of compared Scream 3, not entirely, but loosely, to how comedic and over the top something like it's almost like the seed of Chucky of the of the Scream franchise. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, which I can totally get behind, I think even though I think Scream 3 is a lot better than Seed of Chucky, but Scream 4 Scriphorum is, in my opinion, the Curse of Chucky then, where it really goes back to the elements that made the original work, rooted more in horror, less on slapstick comedy, and more just in line with what the original film set out to be. And I really do think that the 11-year gap, even though apparently Scream 4 still had some rewrite issues, which how are you by the fourth film not solving these problems? It seems like every Scream movie has like so many behind the scenes issues. Well, but
nothing can be perfect.
I guess, but by the fourth film, like, dude, like, how are you just not getting things right? And how are you rewriting the movie, like, again, like 2-3 weeks before shit happens? I don't know. Either way.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you.
They need to get their act together. This franchise is plagued with issues, but again, I still love them all. But no,
I mean, they've been really good to me so far.
Yeah, I love these movies. They're just endlessly rewatchable. I like have to, with watching these movies, I like have to like stop myself from just watching the next one like immediately after watching the one that I just watched. Because I'm like, I just could like watch all 6 of these. But yeah, I really love Scream 4. Again, I love that it returns to horror, but it still has its funny moments. I love that. I love a lot of the character work. I love that for the first time, Gail is genuinely struggling with like her life. It's not just her being an obnoxious, nosy person. She actually is like struggling. She's not adjusting well to the small town life. She's not writing fiction well. It's tough for her. And finally something happens, and unfortunately it's these series of murders, but it gives her purpose again, and her husband's not supporting her. And I don't know, there's a lot of elements that work for me in this movie. The relationship, we talked about Jill, you know, I love the just stab in the gut that it is, that literally and figuratively, that it's she's Sydney's niece, and or she's Sydney's cousin. And my God, there's just so much that I enjoy about the movie from start to finish. It's like just such a blast. I love how over the top and goofy the opening scene is, and like the movie within a movie within a movie. It's such a blast. And yeah, I don't know. I just enjoy a lot of this movie, and
I definitely enjoyed it more after talking with you about it, because like there is just so much to appreciate and to consider when you're like doing something like this. No, I loved the characters. I thought the acting was just like was what it is, which is just like perfect for
what it
Scream.
Perfect for what it needs to be. Well,
and it's
I like the new characters in this a lot more. Even though I kind of mentioned I like the ones in 3, I think the crop of friends that we get in this one is more comparable to the first movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like in how they like blend together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get you. I did feel like a little bit of like some disconnect there, because it I mean, I don't know. When trying to compare it to like the original like group of friends, it's like it's a little hard because they were a little like weirdly together.
They were.
You know what I mean?
They had more charm, I'd say.
But they did have
Matt Lillard just.
They did have a lot. Yeah.
You can't top Matt Lillard. That's the thing.
Yeah, he was so fucking.
I'll tell
charming.
you what though, but Kirby comes close to the like being one of my favorite characters though.
Kirby is so great. I honestly would have really enjoyed her. Like even if I had guessed it right, I think I would take more joy in her being the killer as opposed to me being right.
Yeah.
Because she just like she is very charismatic and like
she
fun
looks
to watch.
so good with the short hair too.
I thought it's so cool. Yeah, it's a really cool thing.
And I love how she has horror knowledge, but she's not obnoxious about it. Like, she knows.
So like, it made me think there's a little bit of mystery there.
Yeah, she knows who the first person to play Leatherface was. That is so sexy.
Gunnar Hansen, yeah.
That is the sexiest thing I've ever heard a woman say. Are you kidding me?
It's a very.
Love her.
I don't know. Do people not really know? How many times has Gunnar Hansen been Leatherface?
I think just one.
Really?
I think just the first one. I'd be
I remember we were talking about him when we were talking about the first movie.
I'd be more impressed if a girl knew who the first person to play Jason was.
Well, yeah, because that would be the body in the water.
No, I mean not the kid, but like in The Mask. I mean, like grown-up Jason.
Like
Yeah, I don't know the kid's name who played the kid. Spoiler, I guess, for Friday the 13th.
Shut the fuck up. We're scared speechless. If you haven't watched scary movies, neither have I. I'm watching them with you, and Jake. So
yeah, we'll do a watch along one of these days.
Oh yeah,
that'll be fun.
That'll be so much fun.
Yeah, that'll be.
And also that was another thing that they had spoiled in Scream already. So. And the first one.
What did they spoil?
When he was quizzing her, he was like, "Who's the killer in the first thing?"
Oh yeah, that's true.
It was like, Jason, and it was like, "No, it's Jason's mother. You would know that if you weren't so stupid."
Yeah,
or
you
something like
fucking
that.
idiot.
Like,
how could you get that wrong, you dumbass?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that great scene.
Question.
But shall we get into? Obviously, guys, we're continuing Scream, so no need for next week's recommendation. We're doing Scream 2022, aka Scream, aka Scream 5. Yeah, shall we get into scores?
Hell yeah, man.
Good, because my laptop's gonna die soon.
Okay.
No,
Alright.
I'm probably gonna rate this movie. This is one of those times where I allow myself some leeway because this is one of the few times where critically, yes, this is probably supposed to be a lower score, but I'm gonna let my enjoyment and love for it impact and add some bias to my score. I'm gonna give Scriforum 8 Rory Culkins out of 10. I like this movie a lot. Clean 8 out of
Alright.
10. Which is
I'm
crazy
going to-
because, sorry, not to interject, but
No. You're good.
I'll have you know, our good friend Josh, he gives Scream 1 an 8 out of 10, so he's probably really pissed that
Whoa.
I give Scream 4 a same rating
Holy
as
shit.
he gives Scream 1.
Wow, is that critical of that? Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
He
To each their
doesn't, he
own.
loves it, but not as much as we do. It's okay.
I fucking love that movie.
I do
well,
too.
this movie, I'll say, I will rate 9 Macaulays out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okay, so I think that
Yeah.
clocks in. I think you gave Scream 2 a 9 something. So either that or you gave it a 9 on the dot. So either you like it just as much as Scream 2 or you like it a little bit less.
Do I like Scream 2 that much?
It's okay. We'll save it for after Scream 6 when we do our ranking. We'll leave we'll leave a little bit of mystery.
At some point, maybe we'll do like revisit episodes where we'll see
That could be
if
fun.
we change it or not.
Yeah. That'll
or
be
like a rating change. Oh,
My
that'd be
rate-
fun.
my-
like a rating change video.
Oh, that
where we
would be
just talk
fun.
with the fans.
We'll rewatch a couple of our more controversial. I'll rewatch Monster House.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thank you again for listening to our chat on Scream 4 and bearing with us as we sporadically talk about movies. I'm pretty sure we talked about the end and then talked about the beginning like 40 minutes in. But that's how we do things
I
here.
know.
That's how we roll. But either way,
we're just hanging out.
yeah, we're just having a good time. Thank you guys as always for listening. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, as well as over on YouTube. If you like listening to us over on YouTube, make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. That would help. Any interaction you have with the episode definitely helps it get out there a little bit more. And
Yes.
yeah, let us know what you guys think about Scriforum. I love it again. I really do enjoy 5 and 6, so those are going to be really fun to talk about. But I still think Scream 4 is my favorite sequel. Maybe it's not the best made, but it's my favorite sequel in the franchise. I love it to death. I love the killer reveals. Love so much about it. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's the only film in the series that does not feature the song Red Right Hand, which is in every other Scream movie. Have you still
I'm gonna have
not
to
remembered that song? It's in every Scream movie but this one.
I'm really bad at these things.
It's such a
but
it's never not in my head when I think about these movies. But don't worry, it's back for 5 and 6. But either way, very
yeah.
excited to talk about Screams 5 and 6, directed by Radio Silence, which we just talked about VHS, which they did a segment in. But either way, you can find this podcast on our social media pages over on Facebook at Scared Speechless, as well as over on Instagram at Scared Speechless. Thanks, as always. You can find me on my personal Instagram at BoozJacob, spelled BoosJacob. That's me. Follow me on my own personal YouTube channel at The Former Film Student. I do movie and TV related content, video essays, reviews, that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's really it for me.
And I have a personal Instagram that I'm fucking barely using.
I barely use mine too, to be fair.
But it would be at Vixatic. That's VIXATIC. Don't worry about what it means. I'm still working on seeing what kind of personal projects I could be investing more energy into. Because I have some ideas for stuff.
Hell yeah.
But yeah. So that's me.
Stay tuned.
Put us on when you're trying to murder your cousin. Yeah.
If you need fame and not fans, put us on for some inspiration.
I think fans would come with the fame, buddy.
That's true. Oh wait, no, I messed that quote up. Oops. If you
Yeah.
need fans instead of friends, who needs friends when you got fans? So be
There you
fans
go.
of Scared Speechless and listen to us. But yep,
Please
guys,
do. And also be friends if you
and be
want.
friends with us. We need friends.
Yeah.
Come have a brewski with us.
Alrighty, guys.
Yeah, this has been
Looks
fun.
like we're wrapping it up.
Yeah, we are at the end. Again, look forward to Scream 5, also just titled Scream 2022. It's a lot of fun. I'm excited to see Aaron's thought process again on who the killer or killers may be.
It'll be something.
It'll be a
All right.
grand old time. All right, guys.
Yeah, man.
That is it, and goodbye.